Oh boy, 3 wins in a row for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against probably a team that's on the up and coming and a team that has been playing very well this season and was supposed to be like a playoff competing team. This is the first 3-win streak under the Bulls era. I think even with Brady last year, we never had 3 wins in a row. So yeah, what a game. Went much better than I anticipated. Our Buccaneers, are they turning a corner or are they lucking out? That's the real question. But before I get into my reaction, if you are new here, I am Rami B. I post weekly Buccaneer reaction videos. So let's get into it. Our beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Green Bay Packers 34-20 in Green Bay in the frozen tundra. I think they put up an image, a stat image, an infographic, I guess you could call it, where it showed this was the 4th or 5th coldest game that we've played since like 2020 or something like that. And we were at that time 3-1 in them. Now we're 4-1 in those games. So yeah, our Buccaneers played a great offensive game. We had 452 yards of total offense, 353 passing, and 99 rushing. This is, I think, the best passing performance we've done all season. And then the Packers had 321 total yards of offense, 261 passing, and 60 rushing. Baker Mayfield had, not arguably, probably is his best game as a Buccaneer, 381 passing yards with 22 completions out of 28 attempts and 4 passing touchdowns. Easily his best performance of the season. He was on point. He wasn't struggling. I think the entire first quarter, going into second quarter maybe, he hadn't had an incompletion at all. I think at one point it was like 10 of 10. Don't quote me, 10 of 10, but it was a good amount of straight completions. Again, his best game of all. He was reading the defense well. He was threading a lot of throws that were very dangerous, but the defenders were literally this close each time. But hey, you're getting those completions. If you trust your arm and you're able to get them through, you can't really complain. Our run game, 99 yards rushing. I think we broke 100 yards 3 games in a row leading up to this game. But Rachaad White, 21 carries for 89 yards with a 22-yard scamper. I want to say it was right at the end of the game. And then Chase Edmonds, 3 for 13. Nothing really to brag about at all regarding that. The passing game, though, Chris Godwin had his best game of the season. Again, no touchdowns, unfortunately. He's becoming like Julio Jones was in Atlanta, where he's getting a lot of yards but can't score. Godwin had 10 catches for 155 yards. Mike Evans had 4 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. And I saw them mention during the game that Evans and Godwin are one of 4 pairs this season to have 55 catches and over 600 yards, I want to say it was. So again, they're still both elite. And you can see when you're feeding the ball to these two guys, the offense moves much more smoothly. David Moore had 2 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. He had that beautiful touchdown that put us up 34-20 in the 4th quarter, where again, threaded the needle right at the first down line. He somehow got it and just exploded. I want to say it was like a 50-yard touchdown, something like that. So put on the Jets. I didn't even know he was that fast, but he took off and scored. Rachaad White, 2 for 50 and a touchdown. He had a 25, 30-yard touchdown pass. I want to say that was also in the 4th quarter maybe, or 3rd quarter. Kadon had 2 for 44. Nobody else had over 40 yards, but O'Keefe had 1 catch, 2 yards and a touchdown, where he was so close, but he did get it. And that essentially, yeah, the game was at that point, looked like we were going to pull away with that. Offensively, there's nothing really to complain about. Again, we're a lot of runs, but they were bold on our last drive of the game where we just wanted to ice it. It was 4th and 2, I want to say 4th and 1, and they had a bunch formation all the way on the left, which I liked because it pulled all the corners out from near the middle of the field. So it really opened up the second level of the defense in the box, but Rachaad White was able to convert it, and essentially the game was won from that point. I do want to give kudos to Bowles for being more aggressive in that game. I want to give kudos to Bowles for actually using timeouts this time. He used all 3 in the first half, and then he used the challenge that he ended up losing in the second half. But I guess he's realized you can't really save them until the playoffs. So wonderful performance there. I still want to give Bowles credit because even though the defense at times did look very suspect, they did clamp down when needed to. Defensively, Antoine Winfield had a forced fumble. Levante David had a half a sack. Anthony Nelson had a full sack. Shaq Barrett had a half a sack and another forced fumble. I think we recovered one of those fumbles near the end of the game. The other ones they recovered, I want to say. But defensively, the pass defense at one point looked very suspect when I think we were up 20 to... I don't remember. I think we were up at one point 20 to 10, and then they scored, I want to say, to make it 17-20. That drive, yeah, they were shredding us. But outside of a couple of drives, the defense really did hold their own. Again, Devin White didn't play. They said he was not playing today and it wasn't injury related, so I'm wondering if they feel that KJ Britt is outplaying him, and it looks like he has. The run defense has not gotten worse without Devin White, and yeah, you can tell that the defense has not missed a step. When Levante's out, the defense looks very different, but when Devin White is out, there isn't much of a difference, and it's safe to say that Devin White is not coming back next year. So yeah, and Todd Bowles is coaching for his career, so of course he'll put in who he feels is more effective. But Jordan Love was 29-39 for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns. He didn't have a great game. Aaron Jones came back. I think he was out for a good part of the season, or the last few games. He had 13 carries for 53 yards. On their receiving end, Wicks had 6 for 97. Kraft had 4 for 57 and a touchdown, and Reed had 6 for 52 and a touchdown. No one else had over 30 yards on their offense. Yeah, I would say this is probably, outside of the New Orleans game week 4, I want to say this is probably the most complete game the Buccaneers have played all season. Offensively, we scored 34 points. I think that's our second highest total outside of the Houston Texans game, and the defense kind of clamped down. The Packers are not a world-beating team, but they were good enough. They had a nice streak mid-season, and then they lost obviously last week to the Giants and then today, but they were not a pushover team. So incredible, performance by the Bucs. This is the time of year where we need to be winning. It's essentially playoff time. Win and you're mostly out of the playoffs. So the best way, destiny's in our hands. We have to keep winning. I said last week, I want to say out of the 4 remaining games, we needed to go 3-1 to ensure that we locked the division. 2-2, we probably could, but we would need a lot of help. With Minnesota losing yesterday, that helps us in the wild card hunt because they're 7-7. No, yeah, they're 7-7. I want to say just like us, if I remember correctly, but we have the tiebreaker over them. So we'll see how things play out. The Bucs are still number 1 in the division, tied at 7-7 with the Saints, but we have the tiebreaker in the head-to-head. However, we will be facing them in 2 weeks, and it looks like that game will probably go down for the division. The Falcons lost to the Panthers, so they're 6-8. However, they can still be in the hunt, and then the Panthers are 2-12. Going over schedules, the Bucs play at home versus the Jags next week. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence will be back or what the situation is. The Saints we play at home as well, and then the last week of the season we played the Panthers, which should be a win as well. But I think we definitely have to beat at least the Saints and Panthers. Jags are an AFC team. It would help. Again, 3-1 we need to go. We beat the Packers. If we can win the other 2 NFC games, we should be locked at that point, especially if we beat the Saints, because we'll have every tiebreaker over them. The Saints play at the Rams. Rams are not great. I don't want to say they're terrible either, but the Rams could beat them there, and it's a West Coast game for them. Then they play in Tampa, and then they play the Falcons, which the Falcons could still knock them out. I think did the Falcons beat them last time they played? I don't remember. And then the Falcons, they have a home game against the Colts, and they play at Chicago and at Saints. The Falcons could still come up and win the division, but we have to take care of business. Now, if we beat the Jags, and then I think we have to beat the Saints regardless, honestly, just because of the tiebreakers and things like that. But destiny is in our hands. And yeah, if we can win it, we'll go into the playoffs and probably lose to Dallas or Philly, depending who wins that division. But hey, at least we'll get in. I still think Todd Bowles needs to be fired because, again, if we go 2-1, we'll be 9-8. Not very impressive considering how bad the division is and things like that. But we'll see how things play out. Comment down below, Bucs Nation, what you think of the game. Are you excited? Do you feel like there's hope that we could continue to at least win a couple more games and get into the playoffs? But yeah, that is all for today. Let's go Bucs. Let's go next week Jags. I think the Jags are a beatable team. We could win that, and we can definitely beat the Saints and the Panthers as well. So we'll see if we can end the season on a 6-game win streak. That would be incredible, right? But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and as always, I am out.
Let's go! You a Buccaneer fan? Let me know. Let me know. We about to win this thing at home. Let's go! Buccaneers.